All right, guys, injury report. DMP today was Kyle Allen, Jaron Christian, and Jared Norris. Limited participants were Dontrell Inman and Dustin Hopkins. Full participants were Thomas Davis, Antonio Gibson, and Jeff Badette. Allen, Jaron, Norris, and Inman will all be out on Sunday. And Jeff Badette and Dustin Hopkins will be questionable. With that, we can open it up.
Hey, Ron, I'm just wondering what you guys either want to see from Dustin, or kind of, is that a game time decision? What's your thought there?
Yeah, we'll see how he is on Sunday.
Great. And I have a kind of a random one for you, but before you were born, Don Coryell coached at Fort Ord, and you were talking about Fort Ord the other day. I wondered if you'd ever heard of him on the base, and I thought you might have, because I know you like history.
It's interesting. I didn't know that he was on the base until probably 8 or 9 years ago. Somebody was telling me the story. Now, it's funny because I do know that they used to have a football team that played, because there was an old stadium there that they had that I had actually played in that old stadium too. So yeah, it's interesting that somebody had brought that up about Coach Coryell.
Thank you.
Hi, Ron. Just with Dontrell Inman's injury and kind of the rotation at receiver over the last few weeks, does that place an extra burden on Terry McLaurin and just in having to adjust to new guys around him?
I don't know if it's as much an adjustment for him as it is the quarterbacks, to be honest. Because Terry's going to do what he does. The quarterbacks is a little bit different because they've got to read through their progressions and they got to understand who's out there. But I don't think it affects Terry. I really don't. I think Terry's focusing on what he needs to do and does it very, very well.
With Alex, could you see a greater comfort level just in working with the guys, getting that rhythm down this week?
I thought there was, and I think that's going to play to his advantage going into this game because, truthfully, last week he didn't get as many reps as he's gotten today with the one. So, or the last couple of days for that matter. So I'm pretty excited to see how he does.
Thanks.
Matt Paris.
Yeah. Hey, Ron. Just curious, with Bryce Love, you guys have those 21 days, the 19. Do you take it extra cautious with him because he's had a history of swelling, or how do you guys kind of approach that?
Well, we put him out there and see how he does. I mean, that's what we have to do. We got to see how he's going to handle it, and that's the key, and that's the thing you always worry about. You never really know guys coming back from injury, but that's why you put him out there, and that's why usually you wait till the next day to see how his body has reacted or his injury has reacted to the amount of work that he's got.
And we didn't see him out there today. Is everything okay there?
Rest day. We'll see how he is next week. He got a lot of work the last 2 days. We were indoors on the AstroTurf, which is never really a good thing. So decided to give him a rest day.
Hey, Ron, we've talked a bunch about the linebackers this week. Khaleke Hudson's been primarily playing on special teams at this point. Just wondering what you've seen from him. And what do you think is it possible he could maybe join that rotation at some point this season?
We'll see. He's a young man that's got a good upside. He works his butt off. But again, we've got a couple other young guys that we're trying to take a good long look at. But he may get an opportunity. He's a heck of a football player. He's shown that. He had a good college career, and he's got a good start to his career here. So, again, maybe there is an opportunity, but we'll see.
What do you see, based on what you've seen from him so far, what do you envision a role for him would be if he were to be out there with the linebackers?
No, he can play base. That's for doggone sure. And there could be some situational stuff you can use. He's got a good skill set. And some of the things that he did in college really do translate well to what we do as a football team.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, there's been, obviously a lot of talk about Adrian Peterson going against you guys and, revenge and all that stuff. But McKissick and Logan Thomas both played in Detroit last year. Do you think that ever hurts a guy, maybe if they get too amped up to prove that a former team did them wrong or made a wrong decision? Or do you think that only usually helps them?
It just depends on the player. I can't imagine guys getting caught up on stuff. I really can't. I mean, it's you take it for what it is, take it for what, the stories that are being made, that are being written by you guys. And, really that's where most of the talk comes from. I don't know why, but it always seems that, that's one of the top stories is that, oh, he was cut by this team. And, be quite honest, I think more is made out of it from the media folks than needs to be. And that's just my opinion.
Les?
Hey, Ryan. I was wondering, a couple weeks removed now from treatments for you, will this be about as well as you have felt going into a game? Is this yourself?
Yeah, I mean, because each day I just feel stronger and stronger. It's like I tell people, my 3 S's are coming back: my senses, my strength, and my stamina. The fog brain is kind of dissipating. I'm starting to feel stronger. The stamina is one thing though, because I get wiped out very quickly. I'm good for 3.5 hours at a time, and it wears on you. And I need to slow down every now and then. But this probably will be the best I've felt going into a game, though. It probably will.
Through all this, have you ever thought back to what it felt like before, when you were coaching in Carolina and before all this happened, and what that was like? And
it's the disappointing part for me personally is that I can't sustain the energy level that I think you need to be really, really good at coaching. And that's hard right now. And that bothers me because, I want to try and give everything I can to these guys because they deserve it. And that's one of the things that disappoints me right now. And it just is hard. That for me personally.
Thanks.
Hey, Ron, a lot gets made about Alex's intangibles and leadership factors. How does that maybe amplify or change at all this week now that he's the starter?
It amplifies because, he walks into that huddle and you see the veteran leadership step a step to the forefront, and the players seem to buy into that type of stuff. And hopefully we can sustain that and we can play well as a group.
Thank you.
All right.
Heather, if Heather's not on, John Conn.
Hey, Ron, with Alex, where have you seen the biggest comfort level in him develop at just, now that he's had some reps this week, but a couple of game actions? Where does that comfort level pay off for him on the field, you think?
Well, I think it becomes a confidence thing. He gets a little more confident in his reads, a little bit more confident in his decision making. So you see a little bit quicker decision making. You see a little more force on his ball when he throws it. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more. Okay, hey, I've made a good quick read. I made the right read, and he delivers a really good ball. That's where you start seeing the confidence and comfort level in what he's doing is by the way the ball comes out, and it's a good ball.
Do you also see a different level of trust in him develop with those receivers? I'm kind of thinking of a play. I think the one that Cam Sims on the in route, the anticipation. Do you see a different level with that?
Yes, you do. And not just with Cam, but with the other guys that he's working with at different positions. You see him working with the tight ends, and you see the comfort there. You see him working with the backs and hitting the backs on the swings or the underneath routes. Then you see the like you said, talking about the ends, the in routes, the crossing routes, stuff like that with the receivers. So the more he works with them, obviously, the more confident and comfort level everybody gets.
Mike Phillips.
I got nothing. You can keep it moving.
All right, last three will go Olivia, Pete, and Rhiannon.
Hey, Coach. I'm told to begin with Olivia Garvey, ABC 7 Sports DC. On a real note here, from the outside looking in, I know these guys are competitive, but I wonder how much hope there is. What do you tell your team, or do you even have to tell these players anything to make sure that they see the hope or still feel like they're in an environment to succeed moving on in the season?
I think they feel that mostly because all you got to do is look at the records of the 4 teams in our division, and we're all jumbled up and we all have a shot. And I think that's the thing you need. It's just as long as you have a chance, doesn't matter how thin it is or how big it is, as long as you have a chance, I think that's what keeps everybody motivated. Plus, this is our first year, and there's a lot to learn and a lot to be gained from playing well from start to finish.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Olivia.
Hey, Ron, you guys haven't scored on an opening possession yet this year. Have you noticed a common theme and why that hasn't happened yet?
No, there's not a common theme from everything from going 3 and out to driving down and missing a field goal. To me, it's just a matter of putting ourselves in position and then finishing off. And that's probably the biggest thing I'd like to see us do.
Rhiannon, last one.
Ron, this is just a strategy question, but when you have a guy like Terry McLaurin who played against a guy like Jeff Okudah, I wonder, do you all like match them up because they know their tendencies, like he would know his weaknesses better than somebody else, or do you kind of shy away from doing something along those lines, especially because he has more experience in the league as well too?
Again, I think the matchups are going to come from them more than it would from us. And so, whether they want to put him on Terry, that's to be seen. But if they do, you'd like to feel confident that a veteran guy, especially a guy like Terry, who works at his craft as hard as he does, might have the upper hand. And if it does happen, we'll see. Then that's the interesting part of the game. That's the interesting part about matchups. You never know until, you get them out there and you get them going. So if it does happen, I'll tell you right now, it'll make for some good football. That's for sure.